Hello pilots and welcome back to another X-Wing flight video brought to you by Out of Arc Gaming. As always, my name is Phil and we threatened it a while ago, but we finally have got round to doing the Battle Over Endor. So here it is, our attempt at getting all the rules right and seeing if we rewrite the entire script that George Lucas worked on. Joining me to find out if Return of the Jedi ends the same way, we have...
It's Jedi, it's James. Hello everyone.
Hey James, welcome back. Rebels versus Empire, just like Mr. Lucas himself intended it, and it is Battle Over Endor. So, I'm not gonna lie, I do like these scenarios. They are good fun, and as we were chatting before, you've obviously not looked at any of the rules for this, so we will
I'm going into this blind, so I will be asking probably a lot of questions about how the scenario works. Hopefully that also helps viewers if they've not really looked into the scenario either. And I think all of the ships in use are using the cards that come in the pack, correct?
Yes, they are all using the specific scenario cards for this. Just to quickly point out, I forgot to bring TIE Fighters when I went to fly this, so I'm using V-Wings instead. They're basically proto-TIE Fighters, but I forgot my TIE Fighters. Good on me. So we've got V-Wings instead. But let's quickly run through those lists before they get too far into it. So did you want to let us know what Ben, our Rebel player, has brought?
Yeah, so the Rebels have, like previously said, they're all the rebuilt loadouts. So Wedge with It's a Trap, Predator, Advanced Proton Torpedoes, R2A3. Kendy Idele with It's a Trap, Ion Missiles, Modified R4P Unit, Chaff Particles. We've got Braylen Stramm with It's a Trap, Home Missiles, Proton Bombs, Delayed Fuses. Arvel Crynyd with It's a Trap, Heroic Sacrifice, Proton Rockets, Gemma Sojan with It's a Trap, Precision Tuned Cannons, Chaff Particles, Target Assist Algorithm, and Adon Fox with It's a Trap, Parting Gift, Proton Rockets, and Proton Bombs. So a lot of Proton and a lot of It's a Trap, which we'll go over in a bit. What did you bring for the Empire?
So for Empire, and these are 25-point lists, by the way, for the scenario, I've got Soontir Fel in the Interceptor. I mean, I had the option of bringing Soontir. I wasn't going to not take it. He's got Apex Predator, Blank Signature, and Feedback Emitter. All of my ships have no escape. We've also got Major Meander in the TIE Fighter / V-Wing with Ruthless and Swarm Tactics. Scimitar 3 in the Bomber with Parting Gift, Proton Torpedoes, and Proton Bombs. Mouse Monaire in the Interceptor with Outmaneuver and Fuel Injection Override. Scimitar 1 is our second bomber with Marksmanship, Proton Torpedoes, and Ion Bombs. And rounding out the list, we have Side 6 in the TIE Fighter with Predator, Ion Maneuvering Jets, and the Targeting Matrix. So we've both gone, we want 2 of each ship, please. Which is quite
right off the bat, I can see that we've got very interesting starting positions. We've got the bridge of a Star Destroyer, and we have some nice little cannons on the field. So what's going on in the scenario?
So for the scenario, essentially it is replaying the Battle Over Endor. Above the Super Star Destroyer, the Rebels' aim is to take out the Super Star Destroyer. So there are a number of wing conditions, and this is played over 8 rounds. So at the end of the 8th round, if the Rebel player has 1 or more ships remaining in the play area, and the command bridge and all turbo laser batteries have been destroyed, the Rebels will win a total victory.
Okay.
At the end of the end phase, of any end phase, if the Imperial player has 25 mission points, the Imperial player wins a total victory and the game ends. So if all Rebels are dead, Empire wins.
Okay.
At the end of the 8th round, if the command bridge has been destroyed and the Imperial player has not won a total victory, the Rebel players win a minor victory.
Oh, okay.
And
so
again,
you can either win big or still get a win, sort of thing.
Yeah.
As a rebel. Okay.
Essentially, and for the Empire, if the command bridge or a turbo laser turret is up and they don't have 25 points, then they win a minor victory. So it's win big or win small. So it's quite there's no draws in this. There's always going to be a winner. Obviously, you mentioned earlier about the interesting setup. So obviously you've got the command bridge and the 4 turbo laser turrets. The command bridge has its health and shield bar is just under our turn bar at the top, and at the bottom you'll see T1, T2, T3 and T4. They're not terminators, those are the turrets, and their health, of which they have 6 each. For the setup, the rebel player can actually set up in a column down the middle, range 3 from either board edge, and then the entire central span. And we'll pop up the overlay color for that in a second so you can see. The Empire can set up at range 2 of the board edges, so the normal player board edges, at any point on there, up to range 2. So you can split your forces up how you will.
You kind of split your forces into 3 of the corners, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I went for sort of 3 sort of edges to try and anticipate what Ben was going to do. He put everyone except for Braylen right at the top there. So he's gone to try and keep everyone together. So yeah, it's an interesting tactic. I've got my interceptors right behind there, my TIE fighters a little bit further away than I'd like. I was kind of anticipating Ben to have a few more ships down this end. But he's actually played quite cleverly and kept a lot of his rebels all together, so making it so I've got a bit more distance to travel to get to them.
The positioning of Braylen is also seemingly very good if that bomb can hit both turrets.
If that bomb hits both turrets, that is really good, because that's a proton bomb as well. And proton bombs, well, anything that deals crits on turrets is actually really good in this. So whilst we're talking about the turrets, let's go over them. We've also got 4 turrets on the board. They have a standard firing arc with 2 red dice and 6 hull. They have 0 evades, so they are not evading anything, even if it's at range 3. I mean, have you ever seen a turret move out the way of a shot?
I have, but we won't get into it.
Yeah. So with the turrets, they've got a number of different things on them. So again, while you defend at range 3, do not apply the range bonus. During the engagement phase at initiative 0, each turbo laser battery may perform an attack. You cannot perform attacks at range 0. So if something bumps into you, you can't shoot it. They actually get a bonus if they're shooting at range 3. So they get an additional... They don't get an additional dice at range 1, but they get an additional dice at range 3. Because obviously it's easier for a turret to shoot things that are further away, because there's less reaction time there needed. If the turret is shooting a ship at range 1, that ship actually gets an additional defense die to show how difficult it is.
And I'm assuming they, at a certain point in the initiative, they can rotate?
So yeah, they can. So at the start of the system phase, if the command bridge is not destroyed, you may rotate each turbo laser battery 90 degrees. After a turbo laser battery rotates, it gains a deplete. So
okay.
You got to be. You basically get a free rotate at the very beginning of the game, and you almost want to be like, right, I know where everyone is. So once everyone's placed, you get to rotate, which is why you'll see the 2 turbo lasers at the bottom of the screen, which are turbo laser 2 and 4, I think. As they start getting shot at, I'll remember. They sort of stayed pointing up, and then the 2, well, they pointed up, but the 2 in the middle sort of looked to point in.
Rotate have ended up with a calculate and a reinforce.
So that is from the command bridge. The command bridge gets 4 charges. Yeah, so it gets 4 charges, and it's got, in the system phase, it can choose one of the following effects. So it can spend 2 charges to recover a shield, or it can do what's called concentrate firepower and spend up to 4 charges and choose a turbo laser battery for each charge, and then it gains a reinforce and a calculate.
Okay. Like
And
that, you can buff your stuff on the field, but you can't buff the units that you bring. So they've managed to balance. You can't overpower some already good unit. You're limited to buffing these turrets with very specific rules.
Yeah, and where they've got no evades as well, that can make it quite tricky because you focus fire on them and they look like they'll pop quite quickly. That Proton Bomb earlier only managed to hit Turbo Laser Turret 3, which is the bottom left. It scored a crit, and with a crit, you actually take 2 damage rather than 1 on your damage tracker.
I wonder if because I'm assuming that the layout of all of this is preset.
Yes, it is a preset layout, so
it is set up so that you can't bomb both, or if Ben just missed it by a hair's breadth sort of thing.
I think he might have literally just missed it by a hair's breadth.
Okay.
Possibly. It have to go back and look, but it is very tricky to you'd probably have to have yourself at like an angle and then drop it and hope it lands right in the middle at like a bit of an angle to get everything.
Do the charges on the command center come back?
Yes, you recover 2 charges in the end phase. And you also recover, so it has 3 shields on the bridge, and you recover 2 shields each turn as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
But once you start taking damage on the bridge, so once the bridge has taken 5 damage, you recover 1 less. Once the bridge is at half hull, you don't recover shields in the end phase.
I like that.
So it's not an insurmountable task for the rebels to do it.
But if you focus on that, the turrets will start getting damage on you because they're in good positions to cover the bridge.
Absolutely. The turrets are in a great position to cover that bridge, and if you decide to go straight into the middle, then I'll just rotate the turrets to follow you and just have essentially 4 more things shooting at you.
Although the rebels do have a lot of munitions, and when the target isn't going to move, you can line up really good shots. I mean, you can definitely control the range of your shot, so your advanced Proton Torpedoes, fine.
Yeah.
Proton Rockets, probably fine as well.
I mean, we can see that someone has just put a big hit into turret 2 at the top left. It's down to 3 hull now. So Ben has obviously decided that priority number 1 is to take out those turrets. And I don't blame him, because when a turret goes down, so when it has 0 health, you actually roll 2 dice, and for a hit or a crit, it actually hits the bridge, and that goes through the shields.
And I suppose with no turrets, the bridge can't really do much.
All it really can do is regen its shields.
Yeah.
So it can regen it. So obviously, if it's down to 10, it can still do the system phase, spend 2 charges to recover 1 shield. So it still has something there. And
I'm curious to see how often the rebels end up taking shots at your ships, or if they are just going, you know what, I'm going for the objective.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, if it was me, I'd be looking at target priority mainly, but if I've got the shot, I would be going for those turrets myself. Unless you had something that was quite scary around me, and I thought, oh, if I take that out, it might be quite handy. But I think turrets is key. That is a big shot there. I believe that's from Mouse going into Arvel Crynyd there.
So yeah, let's have a look at some of these pilots. So all of the rebels have the It's a Trap ability.
So it's a trap. Other than a great catchphrase from our very own General Admiral Akbar, Ooh,
What was that?
direct hit on Arvel Crynyd.
Oh, Arvel.
I mean, we know he dies in Return of the Jedi. Spoilers, sorry, but not that soon. But yeah, it's a trap. While defending, if there are more other friendly ships than enemy ships at range 0 to 1, you may reroll one of your blank results.
Okay.
So, flying in a formation like this, get blanks on evades, you get to reroll them. Which is...
Didn't have Arvel.
No, he had a focus, unfortunately, which he did
Yeah.
spend, and then it was a direct hit. But because he got taken out by, I believe it was Mouse, he still gets to shoot. So he still gets to get off a procket.
Okay.
So he spent his evade
Built
to try and
something
survive.
fine. Cool.
And,
Also, I
obviously-
mean, now that you know you're dead, you just spend this on the attack.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go full out. I mean, that turbo laser turret's only got 3 health left, and you're shooting a procket. So unless you do badly, which
Well, it's still 3 damage if you spend the focus.
it's not enough to take out the turbo laser though, because it's
Oh,
got
of course,
reinforce.
reinforce.
Yeah, which is quite nice. Oh, so I think that might be turbo laser turret 4. That turbo laser turret has taken a lot of damage, so it's very much hurting.
Now, I do know that you... Was it 3D printed the turrets? They're normally just
Yeah.
the little cardboard bit underneath.
Yeah, the turrets are normally just a little cardboard bit underneath, but I wanted it, even if we weren't doing this channel, I'd want it to look a bit more thematic. I'm tempted to try and 3D print a bridge section as well, but that would take quite a while on the printer. But yeah, I printed the turrets just to give it a little bit more depth to it. Just honestly, stood around the table. We've got some pictures up on our Insta of it. It looks so much cooler when you've got those 3D aspects to it.
Yeah, so the whole game could be played without any models, but why would you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You could essentially do it with like a little cardboard that you've got on the shipboard, and then just like a little picture of a TIE fighter. But obviously, it looks so much cooler when you've got those 3D elements. And I know I've seen people do obstacles in 3D, and I know I've said about the turbo laser turrets, it looks great. I wouldn't do normal obstacles in 3D though.
Fly over them just enough that would just be annoying.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay, so you put down a cloud?
yes.
Or an obstacle when
When a turbo laser battery is destroyed, before it's removed, the rebel player places a debris or gas cloud overlapping that turbo laser battery beyond range 1 of any other obstacle and beyond range 0 of any other ships. So yeah.
Okay.
There is
actually, yeah,
one
that's a good
thing-
point. There are no obstacles, are there? Otherwise,
Yeah, there's no obstacles. One thing we did forget to do, there is another scenario feature that we forgot to place in the first turn, and that is the fire support tokens. So the rebels get 3 fire support tokens that they can place anywhere on the board. And essentially, after an enemy ship executes a maneuver, if it is at range 0 to 1 of 1 or more fire support markers, roll an attack dice. On a hit, you suffer a damage. On a focus, it gains a strength token. Now, in turns 2, 4, and 6, I get to remove one of them. So we forgot to put it down
I was
when we
going
were
to say, how
setting
long do
this
they
up.
stick around, or do they just take one shot and then disappear? But okay.
They're around pretty much the whole game until, again, turn 2 I get to take one away, turn 4 I get to take another, turn 6 then they're gone. And that's essentially symbolizing the Empire taking out, like the Death Star firing and taking out ships in the Rebel fleet.
Sure. And then shields can't repel firepower of that magnitude, so that makes sense. Speaking of the Empire, they all have the no escape ability.
Yes, which I love. No escape. It's basically the answer to It's a Trap. No escape. While you perform a primary attack, if there are more friendly ships than other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may reroll one of your blank results. The fun thing with both
I like
of
it because
these...
It's a Trap. If all the rebels are together, they're good. But if the Empire can split them up, and then you can no escape to get that bonus. You can really pick them off.
Yeah, and I think for me, with both of these, the key word in there is other enemy ships. So 1-on-1 for either of these. So if the Empire was attacking 1-on-1, this would actually, no escape would trigger, and the same for It's a Trap, because it specifies other enemies, but you're still friendly to yourself. So if you had, say, Soontir on Wedge, Soontir shoots, he gets no escape, but Wedge gets It's a Trap. So it's an interesting one where you have to be very specific with the wording on there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I really enjoy the pilots they've got in here, the abilities that they've got, and their ship abilities are really cool. And considering this is basically AMG's swan song to X-Wing, the last thing they released, it's not half bad, you know. I like it.
The scenario stuff that they created look very thematic, reasonably balanced, and they're fine.
Absolutely.
There were other issues at play, but we'll go into that.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to enjoy a good game of X-Wing. I know that there are people in the community that are looking to continue this on in the fashion of Netrunner, and I absolutely applaud them, and I look forward to seeing what they do. So that is going to be really exciting to see. And Ben is actually placing his fire support tokens down now, so they should have been set up originally.
Well, it's a new scenario. Yeah. So whilst we're going through this, obviously we've got a lot of new pilots, a lot of new abilities. I don't want to get too into what they all do, but are there any standouts to you? I know you like Soontir, and you used this Soontir in the recent Flight Academy.
I didn't actually. It was
Andy.
Andy used Soontir. I actually used Captain Yor, the Defender.
That was it. You nearly used Soontir.
Yeah, Soontir. Obviously, I love Soontir Fel as a pilot. He's my favourite pilot, has been since version 1. I still have the Alt Art card version 1 for him.
Nice.
He's tricky in this because he doesn't have his normal ability, and he's got the config card, basically sensitive controls built in. I kind of miss the ability to double reposition after, but he's still really good. He's just got a higher ceiling. But I think that one of the things that actually really stands out for me the most, and I'm just trying to find the card for it now, which I've typically misplaced, is actually the TIE Fighters. So the combination of these two TIE Fighters is really good. So Major Meander has an ability that she can allow 2 small base ships by her, including herself, form a red boost or barrel roll action.
When does that trigger?
In the end phase.
Okay, so after everyone has moved, she goes, you know what, the few of us, we're just going to go over here for a sec.
Yeah. And
okay, that's cool.
The thing I'm just trying... there's my cards hidden under the rules. I want to make sure I get this right because I absolutely love this next bit. All the TIE Fighters, so your standard TIE Fighters, have the formed up ship ability. At the end of the end phase, if there is another friendly TIE Fighter at range 0 to 1, you may remove 1 stress token.
Oh wow! So the red stress, if you barrel roll in formation, then you don't get the stress.
Yeah.
And is there a limit on how many times Meander can do
that? No. So basically, Major Meander's ability, and I've just got it right here now. So during the end phase, you may choose up to 2 friendly small ships at range 0 to 2. You and the chosen ships may perform a red boost or red barrel roll action.
So literally every turn, Meander can just barrel roll, really. As long as they're doing blues to clear the stress, unless there is someone next to them.
Yeah. And then obviously, if it's the TIE Fighters doing it together, which you can see, Side 6 and Meander are together, they're formed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't need to worry about that stress anymore. It's really good, and I actually really, really like that.
That
I think
is
it's a
a
really
very
cool
cool
ability.
ability. One of the ties, I assume that is Scythe, has gone onto the bridge. Is there any downside to flying over that? Is it like an obstacle, or is it just that is what the target is, but you can go over it?
So we were trying to find the rules for this, and you can see me on the screen now rereading the rules, and we couldn't see anything.
I mean, I imagine not, because it's not like a rock in space,
Yeah,
but it is still a thing in space, so it could be, but it looks like
So,
you
yeah, I
are
mean-
treating it as an obstacle.
No,
no,
that was
that's for that, okay.
was actually Mouse Monair rolling for the fire support token. Basically, the turbo lasers count as obstacles in that sense. So, if you obviously
I guess that
bump
makes
into
sense with
them,
you replacing them with an obstacle, so that it doesn't remove an obstacle from the board in that sense.
yeah, the bridge doesn't. And we basically went back to the Siege of Coruscant, where the bridge is actually you can fly on it. So we just went. We can't see anything else in there. We're going to do that.
Yeah, if
One
that's the
thing we
base ruling for a scenario like target, then that sounds like what you should do.
Yeah, and the only thing that we probably didn't read or did forget is that the command bridge does obstruct attacks. But I'm trying to think now if there was many times where we shot through it, but the command bridge does obstruct attacks, and so do the turrets as well. So that's probably one thing we did forget, as well as fire support tokens. But I mean, generally, it's just there's a lot of. I think one of the things that we did find is that it might have been an idea for us to sort of have a sit down and just go through what all the ships had, because there's obviously you can see there's so many different upgrades on these cards, and that doesn't include obviously their abilities. I mean, you look at
ships with a lot of abilities that are not on regular cards and odd interaction. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff to learn on top of the scenario.
And but I mean, I will say one of the things that was quite refreshing having these scenario like quick build cards is this space saving that we had.
As someone who, even with the newer rules, flies Poe Dameron with too many upgrades, I run out of board space quite quickly with just one ship.
Yeah.
So having them on one little card is great.
Yeah, it is really handy, and that's something I do like. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the TIE fighters, I found them absolutely brilliant. The bombers were just, it was nice to have bombers on the board, to be honest. I really loved having like just a really cool pure Empire list, was just really nice to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's two of each of the most iconic TIE fighters. You got the regular, you got the bomber, you got the interceptor.
Yeah.
And then the rebels, I mean, wait, you're missing some Y-wings probably, and that's it.
Yeah, Y-wings and the Falcon. It's the only thing you're missing.
Oh, actually, is the Falcon an option in this?
Lando in the Falcon is an option.
Okay.
We were intending on switching sides and playing again after this, and I was going to use Lando, and I think you'd like Lando.
I'm kind of curious how he works, because I would look at this scenario and go, no, I want a lot of ships to get a lot of shots out to take down the targets. But presumably where Lando has some ability to command the others around, can he coordinate in some way? What does Lando do?
Lando does have a coordinate. It's
cool.
red. What's really weird is Lando has a red coordinate to red focus. But we'll come on to that in a moment. We'll come on to that.
Yeah, you will have to run that past me. Sure.
Yeah. So Lando is an initiative 5.
Sure.
But at the start of the activation phase, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, choose an initiative value from 1 to 6. You activate at that initiative this phase.
Okay.
You've got 2 charges for that. So,
I quite like that.
Yeah, two times during the game you can go, I'm an initiative 6 now. And obviously that
Okay,
red to red.
So you choose your initiative for the movement phase, but not shooting phase. Is that right?
At the start of the activation phase, so that's the shooting.
Oh, so you shoot at whatever you want, but you still move at 5. Okay, the other way around.
Oh
Cool.
no, activation movement.
Well, I think
it's for the entire turn.
Then why have they even bothered giving him a 5?
You can only do that twice.
Oh,
so it's not every turn. You get 2 non-recurring charges to use.
Okay, continue with your explanation.
So the thing that makes that red to red quite interesting is you've got high stakes. After you perform a red action, you may roll an attack die. On a hit or crit, remove 1 stress.
Okay, so I always like it when they throw in like the character's like style onto a card, and Lando has always been the gambling card. Like as a crew, like rolling 2 green dice and going, "Oh, I've ended up with a focus and an evade. Great."
Yeah.
And in this case, you might end up with a coordinate and a focus and no stress.
Yeah. And I mean, he's obviously got Niendam on there, who decreases the bank maneuvers difficulty.
Oh, okay, so they didn't give him a different ability. Okay.
No, you've also got Airing Kraken. After defending, if the attack hit, you may gain 1 deplete token to perform a bonus primary attack targeting the attacker.
Sorry, was Lando's thing removing a stress or a red token?
High stakes is remove 1 stress.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that would help get rid of the strain.
No, but I mean, having all your banks be blue will really help.
Well, yes.
And while attacking or defending, if you have a non-locked red or orange token, you may reroll 1 die. It's alright if you're stressed or depleted or strained, because you get to reroll 1 die. Or even jammed, which you can jam yourself in this one. So at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 1 charge and gain 1 jam token to perform a barrel roll action.
I was going to say, what's the benefit of jamming yourself? But sorry, did you say barrel roll?
Lando looks like so much fun.
There's not many opportunities to barrel roll a Falcon, so yeah, I'd probably give that a try.
Yeah. So the Falcon is the only large base ship that you can actually play in this. Like the Empire don't get access to large base at all, so that is pretty cool.
I mean, in a way, the Empire have the biggest ship on the board.
I mean, technically, the board is the ship.
Yes.
Because we're currently on top of the Super Star Destroyer.
Speaking of the board, let's have a quick rundown of how things are going. So we've got 1 turret at full health, 2 turrets destroyed, 1 turret with a bit of damage.
Yeah.
The bridge has taken, 5 hull damage, but has regenerated shields.
So it took 5 hull damage from the 2 turrets earlier going down. So because Ben managed to roll, I think it was 3 hits and a crit, the bridge also suffers from double damage on crits.
Gotcha, okay. And the Rebels lost Arvel early on, and I think you recently lost Mouse Monaire.
Yeah, Wedge came in and did rude things, got a couple of crits.
There is sitting at the back there, behind all of the Rebels, just picking whatever target he wants.
Yeah, he got 2 crits onto Mouse, and unfortunately the first one I pulled was a fuel leak, so that's what killed her.
I do think I saw Scimitars 1 and 3 are a little close together.
Yeah,
I know they're friends with each other, but do they have to be holding hands?
I mean, friends that bomb together stay together? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just the way that they ended up, obviously trying to... Not anticipating that Ben was going to put pretty much everything at the top there was obviously quite an interesting choice. So they have ended up quite close together, but you know what? It's fine. Also, I'm okay with that attack there. Not too much. Wow, okay. Couple of damage going in onto that turret. It is... What was quite interesting about this is obviously Ben is so far concentrated on the turrets majority of the time.
Yes.
And I was quite happy about that because I have 2 shields across my entire list. So, like, crits coming my way with all of that proton was scary. So, and it just gave me free ranges to shoot.
It's still not great to have them all be direct hits against the objectives, at least for your side.
Yeah, well, you don't pull the cards for the turret and the bridge. You actually have a tracker board for it that you basically have a marker that you move, so you don't have to pull damage cards out for the bridge. So all those direct hits are still hidden in the deck for my ships to get.
Yeah, I get filtered out.
Yeah, otherwise it would be nice if like one turret just took all 5 direct hits. I'd be like, ha, this is great. I don't have to worry about that.
So what initiative do the turrets shoot at?
So they activate at initiative 0, so they literally go after everything else, which is probably, whilst at the time I'm a bit like, oh, I really wish like they were initiative 2 or 3, it's probably a good idea, because if they were to activate, say, initiative 4, that would give me so much firepower, it would have just been overwhelming.
The rebels a chance to take them out before they shoot seems reasonable.
Yeah. I mean,
the reinforce seems to be working quite well. So if you can get them pointing in the right direction early and avoid having the strain, if you can have them aiming at the enemy and with that reinforce, I think you're doing all right.
Yeah, just quick update. That is Braylen down already.
That is Braylen down.
That's a Proton.
I think Braylen has done quite a bit of damage before he went.
And he has taken 2 Proton Torpedoes. Bear in mind, this Braylen has 5 shields, by the way. Most of the things have like gained shields here and there.
I hadn't realised that.
Both A-Wings have 3 shields. Braylen has 5. Wedge started as life as a T-70 essentially, then bumped into Kendy and became a T-65 where he lost the shield.
All right, that's interesting that they've got different stat lines to normal.
Yeah, it's the same with some of the Empire stuff as well. Like Major Meander's got a shield, Mouse Bonaire had a shield, Scythe 6 has 4 hull. So, like, there's a few tweaks on there.
To say it has a shield upgrade as well. They just print it on the pre-built card. Just saves a bit of space as well. Okay.
Absolutely. But that's actually quite big. Taking down Braylen. Braylen is always a powerhouse.
B-Wings, they dish out so much damage. They do die quite quickly, as we've seen. But yeah, they do a lot before they go.
So I'm happy to take that down. But those turrets are starting to hurt, and let's see.
Yeah, so as the Empire player, you're on one mission really, destroy all targets, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Arvel feels like that was just the best shot you had when you engaged. Braylen was kind of in a kill box.
So Braylen, obviously, I know how tough B-Wings are, and the bombers were close enough to get a couple of target locks off and have 2 turns of Proton Torps, as well as the TIE fighters hitting him.
My question for you is, who would be your next target? Because Wedge is a good pilot, but he's already fired his munitions.
So it's almost target of opportunity. What ends up in front of me, I would like to try and take out. Obviously, Aiden Fox with his Proton Bombs is going to be scary, because if he can get up and drop those on the bridge.
Did you think it's a case of just sort of hang around the objective and just shoot whatever comes near?
Yeah, basically,
down for one turret.
Yeah, I've kind of got to castle up a little bit and just be like, right, you're getting close, and ideally see if I can initiative like PS kill things as well. So if I can take something out before it shoots, so I'll look at it and say, right, Wedge is shot, but I've got pretty good shots on Wedge. But I've also got pretty good shots on, say, Gemma or Aiden. If Wedge is already shot, I'm gonna go for Gemma and Aiden, because if I can stop their shots going in onto the objectives, because they've got no defense dice, so whatever they roll is just going through on the bridge or the turret, excluding obviously the reinforce. So protecting those is the main thing. So again, if Wedge is already shot, and Gemma's at range 1 of the bridge, I'm going to shoot at Gemma to get rid of her, or even Aiden, because I don't want those shots going through.
Yeah, I
So
think that at the
that's
very
kind of what I
end was shot from the turret onto Gemma, right?
Yes.
Because I was
I
like,
think
oh, 3 attack dice and 4 green dice. So that was
Yeah.
what? Just the range 3, maybe? Or was it range 2?
It was a
No,
range
no,
3
nothing 3 because
from...
there are 3 green dice.
Yeah, it was
So
a range 3 from...
turrets typically have 2 attack dice then.
Yeah, normally have 2 attack dice,
It's up
and
to 3 range 3.
I did read it wrong earlier, but it's while attacking at range 1, the defender rolls 1 additional defense die. While attacking at range 2 to 3, roll 1 additional attack die. So it's actually
Oh, okay.
better. It's almost like the YT-2400. It's
Yeah,
better
which I
outside of
guess
range
makes sense
1.
because that does supposedly have a massive cannon on top of it, and that's what these things are.
Yeah. So that is quite cool there.
I just quite like
Yeah,
it as the idea of, the Star Destroyer is designed to shoot other large capital ships. So the laser is designed to get more powerful as it travels. I think that's the gist.
I think it's more to do with obviously I think if you've read any of the books or seen anything, then you'll always find that the big capital ships are terrible against small fighters because they're not designed to go against that. And turbo lasers, obviously, they're big, they're slow, they're unwieldy. So if you're in close for the turbo laser turret, you can just essentially dance around it, which is why it has less chance of hitting you, which is
you're going for the
too
double
nice.
bomb. You really don't like that A-wing.
Yeah, if I can get rid of that A-wing, I'll get rid of it. It'll be funny. So, and also those bombs are just far enough away from.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you could bomb your own turret, couldn't you? So what is it? That's
You have to
an
be careful
ion
of that.
bomb and a proton bomb.
Yes. So, hopefully catch Gemma with that, but you never know. So this is the fire support tokens. They can move up to range 1 of their current position.
Okay.
In the system phase. So they're not static either. So each turn you can move them. Again, really to simulate obviously the rebels basically just pumping a ton of shots in there to try and disrupt the Empire.
Yeah, I assume that they can't be used to hit turrets or the tower.
No, because it specifies after you execute a maneuver.
Oh, yeah, the movement thing. Okay, that makes sense. Otherwise,
Yeah.
why would you even play with ships?
Yeah, exactly, because otherwise you'd literally just put them in between the turrets and go, haha, I'm going to bomb the turrets. So
Obviously they've designed it to work with the pre-built loadout cards. Could you play this with other loadouts at, what was it, 25 points?
yeah, it's 25 points, and
so if you could bring anything to this scenario from either side, what do you think would just absolutely break it?
Oh
Like,
gosh.
what would just win?
So I think for Rebels, I mean the options they've got are really good actually. Like Y-Wing, A-Wing, X-Wing, B-Wing, and Falcon. Like that covers off so many things. I think the YT-2400, we touched on it earlier, could be really good because it could just literally just go around the outside of the board, picking off those turrets at range 2 to 3. Would be pretty solid. I'm trying to think what would absolutely break this. I mean, other than Battle of Yavin Luke, who is just broken.
That was where I was leaning towards, or anyone who can like double tap quite powerfully, like maybe Corran Horn.
Yes, anything double tapping would be very powerful in this.
Oh wow! Look at those bombs.
Oh, that's a pretty day.
I don't think the A-Wing can get out of that.
No. Yeah, I don't think there's any barrel roll yet.
I don't think the pre-built can double reposition. I think they've just got the one. right?
No, they've got the vector cannons
Yeah.
in pre-built to them as well. Yeah, I think going back to your question, battling Yav and Luke, YT 2400 or anything that could double tap is probably something that could break this up for the Rebels. I think for Empire, battling Yav Invader obviously is very powerful.
He's busy playing Luke. He's not allowed.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, you've got obviously you've got 4 different choices. We don't have it on here, but the Defender is an option on here. And the
That's
only
true.
reason
What are the options that were not brought?
so for Rebels, there's a Y-wing and Falcon, and for Empire, it was a Defender. So you only get 4 choices of ships for Empire. The Defender, obviously gendered in Yor, but they're very expensive. Yor is 6 points, and gendered is 7. So don't get me wrong, I love Defenders.
Yeah, but when you want to go to, like you said earlier, with Major Meander, like you want a lot of ships around them. I think what you put together here is good, and I think the Defender that they have in the pack is very good, but possibly not for the scenario.
I think it could be good for the scenario, but it's a big sacrifice to take that, because you've then got to look at, right, what have I got on here that I'm going to have to drop for something slightly less?
Yeah.
So if I was to take Yor, I'd be looking at going, right, well, Mouse Manair I'm going to have to drop Mouse because she's 5 points. I need to go for something that's 4 points to be able to fit the Defender in. And
yeah, it kind of throws up the maths of the 25 points a bit to get to use all your points correctly.
Yeah, and 25 points is an interesting one. I'd be very interested to actually redo this, but not use the pre-builts. Maybe just use 25 points. See what I could come up with that. Because I'd be tempted maybe to put a Lambda in there for the coordinates.
Say that, but I know you, and with 25 points, that just means you can take more Defenders, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could take... No, you can still only fit 3 in. Because they other than Yor, they're all 7 points. So I could fit 3 Defenders and Soontir Fel in that.
I mean, that is pretty lethal.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I might have to do that one day. I love Defenders. But yeah,
and I mean, they'd be living up to their name because you are defending.
Yeah, and I do love the fact that they did put the Defender in the pack. Obviously, we don't see it in the movie.
I mean, I guess also you could just use whatever faction you want and say it's whatever capital ship of whatever the defending side is, right? It doesn't have to be Imperial or Rebel.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason you can't play this scenario with any other faction. I don't know Battle Yavin well enough, but I can imagine you could probably do the same there. Siege of Coruscant is slightly different because it does specifically reference Jedi.
Oh, that's a good point.
You'd have to tweak it slightly, but I think this and probably Battle Yavin, you could just run with.
I think the one rule I would introduce is that the Separatist Vulture droids can't land on any of the objectives.
Yeah.
The destroyed ones, sure.
I actually think that, yeah, they wouldn't be able to land on the turrets because the turrets, they don't class as an obstacle in the same sense. So you wouldn't be able to land, although it would be hilarious if you did have a Separatist, like a Hyena or a Vulture droid landed on the turret. The turrets are like, well, I've essentially got 2 shots now.
Well, yeah, that's why I said
it'd be awful, but
probably veto that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be interesting to do it with different ships. And like I said, I'm hoping to rerun this and play as Rebels and see if we can have a different result to what we end up with this matchup. And I still haven't actually played.
I'm really sure which way this is going to go, because whilst the Rebels are doing pretty good on the turrets, the the bridge is still looking pretty healthy, and you still only lost one bomber. And the rebels are starting to take that damage.
Yeah, so I've lost an interceptor, and that's all the damage I've taken so far on my side.
Gem's about to get absolutely bombed.
Yeah. So that's going to be a bad day for her.
Because it's going to be a crit and an ion, which means that you're fairly safe to turn that turret and take a shot.
If I wanted to, yeah. It does mean that target lock that Gemma has just taken on that turret is a little bit pointless now. So, which I'm quite happy about. And obviously I've got my TIE fighters coming in. Like, I'm in a pretty good position here. I'm quite happy with how it's going. And again, with Ben having to focus on those turrets, it allows me so much freedom as an Empire player.
Yeah, it's a weird thing of, like, there are objectives, but only one player is really going for them, which means that guessing the positioning of things is very different for both sides of this.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got to look at it and think that whilst I have the freedom to shoot at pretty much whatever I want, where Ben has got a solitary target, it does kind of make it a little bit easier in a weird way for him, because he can just blitz those targets down, and they don't have defense dice. And I'm looking at obviously the sort of the total like health remaining between them. Ben is already over halfway to taking them out. So he's over the 50% mark for taking them out for the loss of 2 ships. So currently that doesn't look too bad for him.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing seems fairly even, I think, so far.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't feel like one side is very far ahead.
And I completely agree with that. Like, neither of us are at a point where we're just going, we absolutely have this. It's still all to play for. And I mean, if I have a turn where I just don't, I mean, at the moment I've got 2 ships that aren't shooting at anything. So that at the moment is a bit tricky. Because with the bombers,
not too great.
Yeah, so I've gone from 5 shots to 3, which
also now that
benefits
the
Ben.
turrets are gone, more of the shots are going to be at your ships, like this one.
Yeah. Oof, not bad getting some evades in there. So that was Wedge. Now it's, I think that is Major Meander. Looks like going for Aiden Fox there. Oh, that's pretty good.
So looking at Aiden Fox, I mean, I don't know what any of their unique things do, but there's one on there called Parting Gift, and I can't help but feel like that is just a dead man switch sort of situation.
Sort of, but not
quite. It took so much damage just there, it nearly happened. So what is Parting Gift?
So I'm just trying to bring that up on the card now, because I'm pretty sure it's the same as, it's the same as what Scimitar 3 has. So, when you are destroyed, before you are removed, you may spend 1 charge on an equipped device upgrade to drop or launch a bomb using a speed. Well, I think he drops it next to him. So in base contact with himself, he drops a bomb, which is quite fun.
So he dies, but he leaves behind a proton bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, again, like there's some really cool abilities in there, like that. It just gives so much flavor. Like, these lists don't feel like 25-point lists because of how much they've got going on them. Like, and I think we've spoken about this before. I've spoken about it with other
Despite
players.
it being more points, it's not. I mean, there is a lot going on, but it doesn't feel like information overload
Yeah,
too much.
where obviously all the ships have got an upgrade that ties them in does actually really help, because it means there's like a big chunk of the card which you already know. A lot of these upgrades are similar to what we already know: advanced proton torpedoes, ion missiles, swarm tactics, proton bombs, etc. It's like there's some of the unique ones like Apex Predator, Parting Gift, ion maneuvering jets, chaff particles. That bye bye Aiden Fox. Unfortunately, we forgot the Parting Gift ability, because that would have been quite fun.
As we said earlier, there's a lot of new stuff to learn.
Yeah. And we're doing our absolute best to try and remember it all. There is the meander formed up tie combination just dancing across there. But just quickly, guys, obviously, whilst we're about to head into turn 4, obviously last week we put a post up on the channel in relation to what's happening outside of X-Wing, specifically with my family and Mrs. Out of Ark's recent diagnosis. Obviously, just wanted to let you guys all know that obviously we are going to try and still continue to bring content whilst she is going through her treatment, but do bear with us, guys. There might be times where we're just not in a position to record or edit or get commentary or get a video out. And obviously, as you know, family does come first. This is a great hobby that allows us to escape from things, but sometimes, as the Empire are telling us at the moment, there is no escape. But that's fine, because it's supporting the family, and that is obviously number one for us. I do want to say massive thank you to those that have reached out from that community post that we put up. Really, like it, both myself and my family, it was lovely. So thank you very much. Again, we're gonna try and keep getting content out as best we can, but if there's a couple of weeks gap, we haven't disappeared. It's obviously we just haven't been able to. So love the support and love everyone that's reached out. And obviously we will keep you guys posted as well as we can on the community posts, if not in videos.
Sure, I speak for at least the vast majority of the audience when I wish all things go well in that regard.
Thank you. Yes, we the Force is hopefully with us, and we are one with the Force. So, ooh, that got deep. Right, go TIE Fighters, go!
Pew pew.
Pew pew.
Just
back to the escape.
Only whiplash.
Yeah. There we go. One of the turrets actually rotated there.
I think that's
not sure how effective it's going to be. It has 1 health left at this point. So
yeah, it puts the threat on.
It really does.
I mean, if it isn't destroyed, it's, and you got the reinforce on it.
Yes, true. And obviously I've got a few things.
Well, I think actually because of the stationary targets on this, the bombs have actually been very interesting.
Yes.
Because even in other scenarios, you put down a bomb and you can kind of ignore it and then circle back around to the objective, and there are other objectives on the board you can go, okay, I'll just go to that one instead. This one, everything is very much in the center.
Yeah.
And we've already seen the bombs do quite a lot. I mean, so would you recommend leaning more towards bombers for the scenario? For both sides, it seems.
I think with Empire, you've got to be very...
balance is working out okay, at least for your Empire list here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you've got to be a bit careful with bombs for Empire, because if you put them too close to your objectives, that can be dangerous. I've been very fortunate that it hasn't been close enough to my objectives to matter because they were dead. But you do have to be careful with that. But I really enjoyed this balance that I had, and almost flying them in 3 mini squadrons together until Ben was really ruthless and took out Mouse, and then Soontu was on his own, which he kind of likes. But I do think this balance has worked out quite well. I think Ben has done really well with what he's had as well. He was really unfortunate, obviously, losing Arvel so early. I think, again, that extra gun on the board would have been really powerful. And before Braylen went down, he did a lot of work as well. So, yeah, I mean, for the Empire, I like having this sort of balanced list. But this is the first and only time I've played this so far. So I'd be definitely up for trying it again with some different combinations to see what
I'm also
actually
curious
works
to
better.
see how other tactics will work. Like, what if the rebels were to ignore all the objectives and take out your ships, or what if they were to focus on the bridge instead of the turrets, as Ben has done here, taking out the turrets first? Which I think on first looking at this scenario, you go, "Oh, I'll take out the turrets." But I'm just curious what other things, like how it would play out if things went in a different order.
So for the rebels, I will say play the objective, because you only get 8 turns.
Well, that's true. Yes, that's a
8
very
turns.
good point.
If it
You're
was
not going to
12
take out
turns,
25 points of things in 8 turns.
yeah, you would have to be
At least not
doing
those
some
and
really
the
good.
objectives.
Yeah, so I would say objectives is key. Maybe you could go straight in for the bridge and put a lot of damage in there, because once you take out that bridge, you can't then reinforce and calculate the turrets. You can't rotate the turrets, so they are very static, and it gives you the option to be like, right, well, I know where you're pointing, so I'm just not going to be there. But taking out the turrets, each time you take out a turret, you have the potential of doing 4 damage on the bridge. So
Yeah,
maybe a
damage on that
combination.
as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if potentially what I would do is I would duck in behind the bridge. Maybe
Yeah, there
start
is a bit
with,
of a blank spot over there where the turrets are a bit further away from it.
yeah, so I would potentially duck in behind the bridge, maybe see if you can take out 1 turret on the way through, and then put as much as you can into the bridge for maybe a turn or 2, depending on how slow you roll it, and then come in and try and sweep up the turrets.
Yeah,
So,
I think
because
that
I
makes
think
sense.
that's definitely an option there. Again, it all depends on where the Empire sets up to counteract you. I mean, if you end up putting your ships right on that range 3 line, pointing into one corner to come behind the bridge, and your opponent sees that you're about to start doing that, he could just line his ships up opposite you. So it's an interesting one. Like, I don't think Ben's done anything wrong in this so far. I mean, he's doing really good. He's got a turret on 1 health, and the bridge has taken damages, only recovering 1 shield a turn.
And once he really starts to focus on the bridge, it's going to go down fairly quickly. Although he is losing ships at this point, so he might struggle to get the job done in time.
That is probably one of the biggest downsides, yeah.
Because at the start of the game, he's got all of his rockets, he's got all of his other munitions. He can do a lot of damage straight away, which he did. He took out those first 2 turrets ridiculously fast.
Ludicrously
And now
quick.
that you've managed to dwindle his numbers, it's becoming more of an uphill battle for him. Which I guess is kind of the swing of the scenario. Like, the rebels are kind of in favor at the start, and then it trails a bit, and then sort of swings more towards the Empire, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely does. You definitely do find that it looks very... easy isn't the right word, but it does look very favourable towards the rebels to start. And then it's always going to swing a bit more towards the Empire when you get right into the fray. But again, having only played this once and not really seen it, I haven't had a chance to check out anyone else's content on it as well. I'd be very, very up for playing this game. In fact, what I would actually love is to have maybe like 3 tables playing it all at the same time and seeing how it goes for each table and what they do differently. Like that would probably be the better way of doing it, in like one big hit, like 3 groups playing it and seeing how it goes. Oh, that is a lot of damage on Kendy there. The
blinded as well.
Stunned and blinded pilot.
Kendy is having a bad day.
Yeah. I think that was side 6 that just got that shot. Side 6 is really cool because she has an ability that if she shoots at range 1 to 2, she gets an additional die. So when she's at range 1, she gets 2 additional.
Light fighter.
Yeah, it's really cool. And with Predator,
I guess the downside is your initiative 2, but I'd take that ability at initiative 2, sure.
Especially when you roll 3 hits and a crit.
I mean,
that's a great.
Yeah, that's a really good stat line if you're close enough to the enemy.
Yeah. It makes TIE fighters good, especially like side 6 again has 4 health. And like Mage Meander has 4 with the shield. And Swarm Tactics has been, I just keep them together. It's like, it might be an initiative 2, but I've got Swarm Tactics. Now it's initiative 5. Brilliant. Very, very scary. Didn't quite manage to take out.
Got a bunch of abilities that work well together, and I do like seeing that on the board.
Yeah. Another one that works quite well is obviously Scimitar 3 and Scimitar 1.
Well, yeah, actually, they've got the same first name. Yeah. How do they work well together? They're both bombers, so I'm assuming it's bombs?
So it's mainly with Scimitar 1. Scimitar 1's ability, after a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 performs an attack, you may spend 1 charge to acquire a lock on the defender. So you don't have to worry about locking with Scimitar 1 if you've got something there.
Okay.
So you could potentially go, I'll focus. Oh, you shot that guy. I'll get a lock. Now I have a double modded Proton Torpedo.
And we've had the final turret destroyed.
4 turns, 4 turrets down.
Now remind me about the major win and minor win for the Empire. Is it that you can only get a minor win now that the turrets are destroyed?
So for the Empire, the minor victory is at the end of the 8th round, if the Rebel player has not won a total victory and the Imperial player has fewer than 25 mission points, the Imperial player wins a minor victory.
Okay, so if the Rebels simply don't succeed in their whole mission but survive the 8 rounds, Empire gets a small win.
A small win, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the case if turrets are destroyed, that counts towards like a half loss to them.
No, it's the command bridge and turrets have to be destroyed for the.
Yeah, okay. The Rebels are kind of an all or nothing, which fits with Battle of Endor.
Yeah. And for their minor victory, so if the command bridge has been destroyed and the Imperial player has not won a total victory, the Rebel player has won a minor victory. So obviously a total victory for the Empire is complete decimation of the Rebels. So,
as the Empire tends to want to do.
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, this isn't exactly a bad place for Ben right now. With the fact that we've got quite a few ships that are ionized here for myself, and Ben, in fact, he's actually not too bad a position. He can line those ships up quite nicely onto...
Yeah, he can do some bank maneuvers and still get some shots on the objective.
Yeah,
or potentially your ships if you can guess where you're going to end up.
either or. Yeah, either or could work out.
And now that he's fired off his munitions, he's not too worried about missing out on the target lock because he has to just focus after
Yeah,
the ion move.
which is absolutely fine. Like, focusing after an iron move.
But I do like
Not-
that barrel roll because if I'm assuming that's Kendy in the red
Yeah.
X-wing. So if they have gone for the bank maneuver, that's
That could be a bump.
probably a bump.
Yeah. Which means can still take the focus.
Yeah, but it's red focus, which isn't as good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
lovely. I think if I'd
I
have
don't know
gone
if you want to
forward,
be then though, because now I don't know. Okay, so you've got your TIE bomber there, and you've got range one on both of these ships.
yeah.
Who do you go for?
Well,
They are what? Both on 2 health.
both on 2 health. But I mean, I do have range 1 with a target lock on
Oh, okay.
2.
You've got the lock, and you've got other ships shooting at Kendy. So yeah, I guess who is that? Is that Scimitar 1?
That's Scimitar 1. I've got
Yeah,
Marksmanship
okay.
as
Scimitar
well.
1 probably goes into Gemma.
Soontir probably goes into Kendy right now. And then obviously I've got Scythe 6 there to help with mop-up duty if required. A nice range 2 shot with Predator into Kendy. Or I could just go and have some fun and go straight into Wedge. But,
Well, yeah, now the wedge is floating right in front of you.
oh, that's a really... The problem is, Apex Predator on Soontir, you get a reroll if you're a higher initiative. Don't get that against Wedge.
Yes, there is that, but also you've got a range 1 shot on wedge.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at going for trying to take a ship out. If I, again, whilst I've got that range 1 on Wedge, it would be good. Can I kill Wedge in 1 shot?
No.
Unlikely. Can I take out Kendy and
You
possibly...
can probably take out
Gemma?
Kendy and Gemma if you focus on those 2, yes.
Yeah. So I can possibly take out both of them. That's 2 shots not going into the bridge. I get my reroll for Apex, spend my focus, 2 hits and a crit into Kendy.
That'll be it.
That's Kendy down. That already is 4 damage that I'm guaranteeing not taking onto the bridge right now. And just in case, I can do a barrel roll with Soontir's
Of course, yeah.
ship ability to make sure that I don't get shot by Wedge. Although I'd be very surprised if Ben did decide to shoot Wedge.
Does Cynthia still have the blue 1 sharp? Is it 1 sharp or is it 2 sharp for blue?
2 sharp.
Okay.
The Interceptor doesn't have a 1 sharp. I would love it if it had a 1 sharp. I think the only one of the few ships I know that has a blue 1 sharp is the TIE Advanced prototype.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Like that, a blue hard is genuinely...
Yeah, that's silly on that ship.
That's like a top tier. That's like definitely top 3 moves on a dial.
If you have that ship and you've not played around with any of the Inquisitor pilots, have a go. Even as someone who doesn't play Imperials, like that does look like a lot of fun.
I'm trying to think if it has talent on there, because what you do is you go crazy, and if you can, you put Daredevil on it.
I think there's probably at least one pilot that can do that.
Having a quick look. So Inquisitor, Fifth Brother, Seventh Sister, all of them have it except for the basic Inquisitor. So yeah, you sit
not
Daredevil on it.
basic stuff anymore anyway.
Yeah, shame. Oh, that's a big hit there. Is that... Oh, going into Wedge. Interesting. Kendy is down. Obviously, the overlay hasn't updated yet. But getting some damage in on Wedge, probably not a bad idea.
I mean, it is Wedge.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. No damage going into Gemma there.
If Gemma survives this round, I will be very surprised.
Well, I don't think there's any more shots coming in
There's
because
no
I'm
more
pretty
shots.
sure.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure side 6
got away with that one.
Yeah, was swarm tactics up.
Question
and
is,
decided to.
what does Gemma shoot? I would assume the bridge.
Oh, it's going to be the bridge, 100%.
Because at this point, I kind of feel like whilst Ben's doing a good job with the objectives, I think he's ignored you too much, potentially.
Yeah. Well, he's just got 4 damage on the bridge, putting the bridge down to 10, which means the bridge does now not natively regen a shield.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I have charges that I can regen with, but it's only 1 shield. 2 charges for a shield.
You've got the cards for all these in front of you, haven't you?
I do indeed.
So this wedge is not the normal reduced agility wedge, is it?
No, he's not. So his abilities. So after you perform an attack that hits, gain 1 focus token.
Okay, that's nice.
And then you have the locked S foils. After you perform a boost action, gain a deplete token.
Okay, interesting. I mean, at least it gives you the option for it.
Yeah, and then the other thing he does have, which is obviously slightly different, is R2A3. After you perform an action, you may spend 1 charge to acquire a lock. That's a one use action.
Okay.
So you could focus and then get a lock, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I like that version of Wedge because, as you said, all of the objectives in this already have 0 agility. So having his original ability wouldn't really benefit here.
No.
Obviously, it would help shooting down the enemy ships, but in terms of objective play, not much use.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think that potentially he's... Whilst some of these pilots, I think, actually have quite good use cases in standard play, Wedge...
This Wedge feels very designed for this scenario. I don't see why you wouldn't run a different Wedge outside of the scenario.
And I agree. I do agree with that. I think that outside of the scenario, you'd probably run regular Wedge, and because his ability is just really good.
It's basic ability.
I mean, now obviously you can't put outmaneuver on him more because he doesn't have enough points, which I think is the right call.
Like putting outmaneuver on him was putting all of your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that Wedge is better off with something else, maybe just Predator.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, I think that this Wedge is perfectly designed for this scenario. Not one you would take outside of the scenario. Maybe if you thought actually it wouldn't. Well, let me just have a quick look. So I'm wondering. No, I don't think see any reason why you wouldn't go for normal Wedge. Maybe Battle Over Endor Wedge because he gets attack speed, Proton Torpedoes, marksmanship. But he's going to survive.
Designed for objectives, right? So I wonder how that would work if you swapped things around and took Battle of Yavin, Rebel and Empire and put them in this scenario, and then took these Rebel and Empire and put them in the Yavin scenario.
It could be interesting. Obviously, I've never played the Yavin scenario, and I still keep meaning to, so it's hard to say, but it would be interesting to see how they differ.
We do know is that Yavin Luke is just very good.
Yavin Luke is very, very good. He's one of the best.
Don't believe us, and you haven't seen the recent Flight Academy games. Go find any of the ones with Luke in.
In fact, go watch the last 2 seasons
Well, yeah, that's
Specifically, if
true.
you
Yeah,
want,
he dominated both.
yeah, he. I mean, you can probably gather from our tone, no spoilers, but the two most recent winners of Flight Academy both had Matlav and Luke in there, which is why when we do come around to season 7, standard cards will be banned. Standard loadout cards will be banned, so we won't have any of the scenario cards. It'll be old school build your own list cards, just because they're just really good, some of them.
Also, people come up with some really creative stuff for it, which is always fun to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a shame that Quinn doesn't play anymore, but he was king of crazy when it comes to list building. Some of the stuff that he would put together was just he loved list building. It was on another level of like he would come in and go.
The weirdest interactions that worked really well, and it was good.
Yeah. I think it was the concussion bombing Wolf Waro to instantly enrage the Wookiee.
It was literally what I was thinking of as we were discussing it. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people use it more now as well, but I was just like, that's genius. That's really cool.
We don't have any Wookiees here, but what we do have is some more damage on the bridge. Yeah, so if the bridge is destroyed, does the game end there, or do you still play out the full 8 rounds to try and kill the rebels?
So you still play it out. So it's the only one that ends at the end phase is the Empire total victory if all rebels are dead.
Well, sure, that makes sense.
So yeah, because obviously they still need to survive till the end of the 8th round.
Yeah,
so if they take out all of the bridges,
get 8 more damage, and he's already fired this round.
And Gemma is an I2.
Oh, but Gemma is shooting backwards with the cannons.
That's
if she's still around.
Still around.
Yeah. I don't know if Wedge is going to be able to do this on his own and survive the remaining time.
Yeah.
For an 8-round game, I know we've got a lot of ships and extra stuff with the objectives, but 6 rounds has taken a while.
Yeah, I mean, this... Obviously, we do our usual editing it down. This took us over 2 hours to play. Obviously, there was a... If we were to do this again, it'll probably be quicker because we know the rules a bit better.
Faster, that does tend to happen. But even then, that is quite long.
Yeah, I mean, between us, we were putting down 12 dials. And then there's the turrets and everything. So, yeah, I mean, the first round, I think, took us about 30 minutes of just round 1. Like 25 minutes of just round 1. And then it got sped up as we were going along, as it always does, because you've got less ships and everything. But, yeah, it's...
Speaking of less ships, there is now just Wedge. And I like Wedge. He's a good pilot. I like the character, but I don't know that he's got it in him.
I mean, to get 6 damage into that bridge is not going to be easy.
Just roll a bunch of crits. That's all you gotta do.
3 crits and run away, and you've
won. I would maybe even be inclined to, like, if you get all hits, re-roll one with Predator to try and get it a crit instead.
Yeah, why not fish for a crit? It's not a bad shout.
Which also then got to survive. Oh, you bumped yourself there.
Yeah, and caused the damage.
Oh, what a shame. I mean, what?
I'm looking at my side of the overlay at the moment, and I don't think I've ever got to turn 7 in a game and gone, I have taken 9 damage.
Well, I mean, you say 9 damage.
Okay.
You've also lost, what, 24 health and turrets. And, well, with the recharging of health, I'm not entirely sure how much the bridge has taken, but...
Well, I mean, the bridge has taken 14 hulls, so you're looking at 38 damage there, plus let's just generously say five shields, 6 shields, so 44 damage in objectives, which is really, really quite impressive. Like over 7 rounds.
Yeah.
For like 53 damage has been output by the rebels over 7 rounds. Like if you were putting that much damage, like that's most lists wiped out. Unless you were running something really ridiculous, like, I don't know, 4 resistance Y-Wings with wartime loadout.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so we are approaching what I feel like is getting towards the end of the game. So questions for the audience. What do you think of the scenario? Have you played it? If not, what do you think from what you've seen here? Just let us know. I mean, it's not like the feedback's ever going to go back to AMG anyway, so be as harsh as you want about it.
Yeah, I mean, let us know what you think about the scenario, what you think about the pilots. Like, would you play this? Have you played it? Would you play it again? For me, I would genuinely play this scenario again. I still need to play Battle Yavin. Let us know your ranking for the scenarios. In fact, like Yavin, Coruscant, Endor. Which is your preferred scenario? Which one would you just literally get rid of and never play again? Basically.
I'm disappointed they never got around to a sequel scenario, just so I could have some of the pre-built cars and I could bring so much stuff with me.
I would have loved to have
that shot. Who was that? I mean, Wedge is doing his best to survive.
I would say that's one of the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably
Scimitar 1, I think.
If it was 3 dice range 1, it was probably either Meander or Scimitar 3.
Yeah.
That will be Scimitar 1.
Could dodge it.
He needs an evade, otherwise that is game over. And that's how you do disrespect. Triple evade.
Unfortunately, the crit he got was Panicked Pilot, so he can't even try and talent roll to finish the job.
Is unfortunate. I think we are going into turn 8, and Ben does not have a shot. The question is, can Ben?
Oh, true. Yeah, because if he can survive, you only get a minor victory.
A minor victory.
Can he deny you the full win?
Which I mean would be hilarious if after all this. Yeah, going back to it, it's a shame we never got a sequel scenario. It would have been nice to see Starkiller Base or Battle of Exegol.
I think actually that's probably what they would have done, just for the variety of ships.
Yeah. But it would have been really nice to see that. You never know. The X-Wing Alliance might look at some scenarios there.
What will happen with that, but maybe we'll put together something once they've announced what their plans are.
Yeah, I mean, we did our own version of Battle Yavin before AMG did, so you never know. We might try our hands at doing something silly. How many T-70s do you want in a list?
Well, I think I've got 10.
Okay, I'll borrow 30 FO TIE fighters.
Oh, okay.
We'll do Starkiller. Got 10 T-70s. I know you like them, but...
Well, it's because I had enough to run a full squad in version 1, and then they were like, here's version 2, the wings flap. And I was like, you know what? Sure.
Yeah. I still don't have any of the flappy wing T-70s.
Well, I was like, okay, I don't need to get all the flappy ones. And then they released the other box that had the Poe and the Snap Wexley orange and green ones. It's like, well, I've got to get them as well.
Yeah.
It kind of just kept going.
So don't blame you, to be honest.
I mean, I feel like Wedge is in an okay spot. Although
yeah, he's only got... It comes soon to, but yeah, he's got 2
I mean,
Only
Sunti
two
can
shooting.
boost and get at least a range 3.
Yeah.
You did say that you were forgetting that the bridge
Yeah, we did forget about
has
the obstruction
blocking,
from the
so
bridge.
that might have made a difference overall, but
I think this is about the first time we've shot through the bridge.
yeah, I guess most of the other shots when that's happening is just shots onto the bridge.
Oh, Wedge lives.
Okay. Come on,
One
Wedge.
shot survived.
Come on, Wedge.
Scimitar 3. With a lock
Um,
and a focus. Wedge dies.
oh, heroic? Oh, no, it doesn't have it.
Wrong faction.
I mean,
Oh.
he lasted very much until the bitter end.
Absolutely. I mean, we played the full 8 rounds there, and I only had one final shot to be able to claim that major victory. And you know what? It was, again, I said it, I really enjoyed playing this scenario. Me and Ben had a great time doing it. We've already said we're going to come back and do it again, swap sides and see how it goes. And we'll probably be able to do it a lot quicker. Again, as to when we get around to playing that, not sure, but we will hopefully be able to do that at some point. But that was Battle of Endor. I hope you enjoyed watching that one, to be honest,
And that
Jay.
was a very good one. Yeah, it was very interesting to see how this scenario plays out. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. And guys, as I said, we will be bringing you more content as and when we can. Again, thank you all so much for your support. It does mean the absolute world to myself and my family to just know that there's that much kindness out there in the world. So thank you all so much for that. As always, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you hopefully next time.